Welcome to the Complete Collection series. Today, we'll be looking at Wilt Chamberlain's great stories told by NBA players and legends. If you would like to be featured on the next episode, let me know which player I should do for the next episode in this series. These videos and this series takes me a long time to edit and produce, so all I ask is that you hit that like button. It would really help me out. If you are new around here and you enjoy these types of videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss an episode in the series in the future. Without further ado, here's the complete collection of Wilt Chamberlain's greatest stories.
Why is it that we don't recognize Wilt Chamberlain?
These videos and stuff, like he was so freaking athletic. Like he would have been able to play any area, like jump over anybody.
You played against him. For those of us who never saw him live, what should people know about Wilt as a player?
Wilt averaged 50 in one season. He averaged 50 in one season.
But it feels like Wilt Chamberlain, we look at it and go, he played in a different league. But I think we view it as, that Wilt Chamberlain guy, he scored 100 in a game, like he was an alien.
If you have one player in NBA history that you could start a team around, who would it be?
I don't hate questions like that. It would be Wilt Chamberlain.
Why?
He's the greatest big man in the history of the game.
To say who is the greatest, we will never know that. I mean, in my eye, Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest basketball player.
Who do you think is the greatest of all time? Wilt Chamberlain.
But we don't acknowledge, when the topic comes up, greatest players of all time, Wilt Chamberlain's name never comes up.
I think when you see the similarities and you understand this is one way you can judge the two. How much impact will each change or evolve the game? With all the technology we have today, they didn't have the ankles, the MRI, all the stuff we have now, they didn't have back then. It's literally the word unbelievable is very appropriate for him.
I would love to see him play against some of these centers today. It would be pretty embarrassing for them, to be candid with you.
One of the greatest scorers, rebounders ever. Somebody people have never seen something like that in that era.
We talk about these great performances, we show you stats, and we show you clips, and we compare these people to Wilt Chamberlain, because that's basically who set the bar so high. But for a younger generation of basketball fans, people that watch and listen to our show, they think of Wilt Chamberlain as the guy who scored 100 points in a game, or they see 2 or 3 clips of him playing. Explain to everyone just how versatile Wilt was. Gather around, boys and girls. Let me teach you who the Big Dipper is. Let me teach you who Wilt the Stilt is. All ears.
First of all, you can't compare that. He's on another level.
Here's a guy during a basketball season, averaged 50 points.
Wilt's 50. Did you feel like that's something he could have done every year?
No, that's special. That's once in a lifetime.
It seems incredible now to think he averaged 50 points.
Yeah, 25 rebounds. Yeah, that's amazing.
And 25 rebounds. 50 points and 25 rebounds.
You sort of look back, he averaged 50.4 points a game in a season. So he got 50 every single night.
It was a different game. Different game still. 50 points, 25 rebounds. 50 points, 25 rebounds. It's a credit to what a physical specimen as well. How talented he
Was a 7-footer who literally should have his own record book. This is why a 6'3" guard like Russell Westbrook is being compared to him for triple-double. A 6'5" guard like James Harden is being compared to him for the way he scores. And a 7-foot player like Jokic is being compared to him for having triple-double. Because he's the unstoppable force in the history of basketball. And it's not just dunks. Look at that step back, one-leg jump shot.
People saw Michael Jordan dominating people with the fadeaway jumper, unstoppable shot. Wilt Chamberlain invented the fadeaway.
People act like Dirk invented that. Wilt was doing that then. Finger roll, dunks. He could put up video game numbers.
Who do you think is the greatest of all time? Wilt Chamberlain. Do you think Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest of all time?
So that's the one of the people I am so curious about, because when you read about him, you read about how high he jumped, you read about his bench press, you read about, his quickness, track. It's almost like, the Bo Jacksons you hear about. Bo was a mid, Deion Sanders was a mid. Wilt is in that category to me of Bo, Deion, and Wilt. You played against him, right? What was he like when you played against him?
Well, there was the two Wilts. There was a Wilt that dominated early on in his career. Then when they said that he, shot too much.
People said that he was selfish. So you know what he did? Went back and led the league in assists.
He led the league in assists one year. Actually, they played in triangle offense.
A center led the league in assists.
Yeah, 1967, 68. I think it was 8.5. It's the leading number.
Chamberlain, back pass to Goodwin. Good! It goes against the free throw line. Great pass. Now the Lakers use that play off, heading for the layup.
Chamberlain, one of the best in the game, and handing off to the cutter.
Wilt stopped shooting in his sixth or seventh year in the league, and became an assist guy and whatnot. So, and he didn't play. He only played 13 years, and he played part of 1 year of that. So he played like 12 and a half years, let's say. And he was the all-time leading scorer before everybody else started. He still has 72 records on the books. He's got 68 records by himself. So he's tied with 4 people in other areas. I mean, and this has been, 40-some years ago. Just numbers in itself, 50 points a game, average 20-some rebounds a game. He averaged almost 48 minutes a game. I mean, he
led the league in assists once, which is unheard of as a center.
Exactly. Whatever they said he couldn't do, he did. And that was always good.
Put my elbow into his solar plexus and I heard him grunt. Ugh. And as I was coming back on the court, he was coming after me with his left hand. And I knew that was not to shake my hand because he's right-handed. And I knocked this photographer off his stool. I picked up the stool and I reached back to hit Wilt. And by that time, the whole bench on both teams had emptied. And Russell was in front of Wilt. Wilt was looking over his shoulders, pointing at me and saying, "Sam Jones, I'm going to make you eat the stool." And I was saying, "Wilt Chamberlain, I'm going to crack your kneecaps." Well, anyway, that got over. The next night we played in Philadelphia. And so Wilt Chamberlain told me, he said, "Don't come into the paint tonight." And, being a smart aleck, I said, "Well, I'm going to come in there." The first time I got the ball, I went in for a layup. He did not try to block the ball at all. He blocked my body. He put me flat on my back, and I remember him coming and getting close to me and saying, "The next time you come in here, I'll knock you flat on your butt again." As he was picking me up, and I said, "I won't be back." And that whole night, I did not come back into the paint.
You talk about in your prime how you think you would have maybe stacked up against Shaquille O'Neal. What do you think would have happened, you versus Shaquille O'Neal today? Because people sometimes lump the two of you together.
Yeah. Probably more qualified than anybody for this one. You played, you were contemporary, I believe, for some period of time with Wilt Chamberlain. You obviously coached Shaquille O'Neal. Strengths and weaknesses of each, and if you have to rank them, who's number 1, who's number 2 on that list of 2 centers?
Wilt Chamberlain was indeed the most dominant player ever.
Well, as formidable as Shaq was physically, just stalwart, 300 pounds of steel and agility and athleticism. Wilt was all of that.
One of the most dominant forces we ever had in our game, Shaq.
He had more championships than Wilt.
Yeah, I got more chance, but I'm very, when it comes to basketball conversations, I'm very only one here by that. So when they say he's the most dominant player ever, I want him to say my name. I don't want him to be like, maybe Wilt, maybe Shaq. That don't fly with me. I want him to say Shaq.
Does that really bother you?
Yeah, it does. Because that was my niche. I wasn't going for the greatest player niche. I wasn't going for the best. I wasn't going for that. Those words are just thrown out. When it was like most dominant, you gotta earn that. So, Wilt averaged 50 in 1 season. He averaged 50 in 1 season. I'm mad because I wanted to pass him up in points. Now, if I would have passed him up, I would have arrogantly said, Shaquille O'Neal is the most dominant player ever. Don't ever ask me the question again. Yeah, I got more rings than him, but he got more 50-point games, he got more rebounds, and he has more points.
Shaquille didn't have quite the same athleticism that Wilt had. He had the bounce, and he had the speed, but he didn't have the endurance that obviously by the 48 minutes a night that we talked about. He had a jump hook, whereas Wilt didn't have a jump hook. He had an array of shots. He had a hook, he had a finger roll, he had a turnaround jump shot. And Shaq was a post sprinter.
Shaq gets away with what I would consider murder. So they let him go. Yeah, I mean, I would think that when you dip your shoulder and you run over the top of a guy and the foul's called on the guy laying on the floor, you're getting away with something. So Shaq is allowed maybe to score some points that maybe he wouldn't get.
Well, he got that zone defense in his favor, though, right? Ain't gonna be able to drop 3 or 4 guys on him. Like you
where he'd go down and get in the lane ahead of the crowd. And Wilt was never much of a post sprinter. He used to take his time. In fact, when he rebounded, a lot of times he'd make the guards come back to him to get the ball, so he'd be down there when the ball got to the other end of the court. I think that free throw shooting, big weakness on both spots. It really was.
Because we're both terrible foul shooters. But other than that, he plays a entirely different type of basketball game. He uses his physicality. He's a big, strong young man, and that works well in today's game. If he was facing me and other guys in my time, not so. I'm a guy bench pressing around 600 pounds.
600 pounds?
Yeah. One night, we were in a playoffs against Philadelphia when he was still in Philadelphia. And they fouled out both Walt Bellamy and Willis Reed, and I ended up having to be the third center to go in and play Wilt in a double overtime game. So it was one of those things. But the thing with Wilt is he took me up with him when he went up to shoot a shot. He was that strong. He was very strong. Thank you for your question.
First of all, you're never going to say who's the greatest of all time. To me, I think that's more for PR and more for selling stories and getting hype. Jack and Tiger never played against each other. They never played in the same tournament. They never played with the same equipment. They never played with the same length of golf course. I never played against Wilt Chamberlain.
To say who is the greatest, we will never know that. I mean, in my eye, Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest basketball player.
To now say that one's greater than the other is being a little bit unfair.
Everybody always points to Michael and making all these changes or things, but Wilt Chamberlain was the first one that really made changes. He was the first dominant person of basketball.
How much impact did each change or evolve the game?
Let's talk about Michael Jordan. I'm curious, Michael Jordan, say we had a time machine here. What if we could send Michael Jordan back to playing basketball with you in your prime?
When you see Michael Jordan, I'm a product of modern basketball, modern technology.
With all the technology we have today, they didn't have the ankles, the MRI, all the stuff we have now, they didn't have back then.
But all the great achievements comes from Oscar Robertson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, all the basketball players way before Michael Jordan. I just got the fruit of the labor, I guess. I learned so much from these guys watching them, and I've kind of gained more of the publicity and more of the notoriety because of me learning from what they have done years way before me.
A few months ago, they said, Michael, now don't be shy and don't be this and don't be that. Are you the best basketball player to ever play? And Michael said, yes.
We're at the NBA's all-time team celebration, Cleveland, 1997.
When they announced the top 50 players, right? Which you were on that list, right when they announced them. I heard when they were bringing everybody up, at the end of the row
is Wilt and Michael Jordan. And they're sitting at a table arguing vociferously as to who the greatest player of all time was. And they're back and forth. And just intense as can be.
Jordan and Wilt were debating on who's the greatest. And Stern had to say, come on up here. We're going really at it, and one saying I am, the other one saying I am. They're going, but you couldn't do this, and my era I did this, and I was doing this, and I changed again with this.
It bothers you when people talk about him as being the greatest player of all time? No, it bothers me because we all have our opinions.
I contend Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player who ever lived. I would put you number 2, only because you only won 2 championships. Now, people are going to say, well, you know what, he had a lot of stats and this and that. You won 2 world championships, okay?
I have a friend of mine who I talk to about once a week. You know what he says about Michael's 4 championships? He doesn't say anything about it. Because he has 11. You know, Russell, I don't think, you can predicate how great a guy really is or because he has championships. There's a lot of guys on those championship teams who've done nothing.
I won 6 championships. Bill Russell won 11. Does that make Bill Russell better than me and make me better than him? No, because we played different eras. So when you try to equate who's the greatest of all time, it's an unfair parallel. It's an unfair choice.
Michael Jordan is one of those rare specimens that could have played at any particular time and is a gifted athlete who is using those gifts in basketball incredibly so. I think that almost every man in the NBA should give him 10% of their checks.
Now, what would his playing style, how would that have translated back then?
Well, his playing style is he's 6'7" and he's like 197 pounds. Coming into what we call our domain, the pivot for us big guys, would not have been very wise of Michael.
To me, there's no real debate, as far as I was concerned. I mean, we had great players as far as, with Michael and, of course, LeBron. Everybody, Michael set a tone for the guys from the 80s up.
Now, I know that basketball is a team game, right? And you've already made Michael number 1. But if you had to have Will against Michael, my prime and his prime, how much money would you be willing to get? Wow!
Close or not even close?
Oh, everybody's close, but Will just did things. I mean, you talk in terms of he used to dunk, from the free throw line, free throws.
I actually saw this, and I think to this day people don't believe it. But he wasn't at the top of the circle, but he was about 3 steps behind it on a free throw, and he ran to the free throw line, took off and dunked the ball. And in the rules at that time, you could. I think I could have been very definitely instrumental because I was chairman of the Basketball Coaches Rules Recommendation Committee, and I explained to the coaches at the convention what I saw, and said that something's going to have to be done so that we don't have guys that can dunk the ball in the free throw line, and they changed that rule.
The rule is you have to stay behind the free throw line until the ball hits the back. They had a little 13-foot lanes. That got expanded. I mean, he did things that until today is still a part of the game, or what's made the game what it is today.
Revolutionary type of guy.
I'll tell you a great Magic story. I'm a coach at UCLA, and he used to come to the men's gym and organize games. And there were a lot of pickup games back then. All the time, and he used to make the sides and stack them. So one night I'm watching, and Kevin O'Connor are in the stands. Wilt Chamberlain's playing with 4 of my freshmen against Magic, Bernard King, James Worthy, Byron Scott, and Green. AC Green. And it's game point. Magic throws the sky hook. Wilt blocks it. Magic calls game. And Wilt says, that wasn't goaltending. That was a clean block. And Magic took the ball. He said, game over next. And Wilt said, hey, coach, was that goaltending? And I said, no, that was a clean block. Magic says, what do you think he's going to say? They're his kids. And Wilt says, all right, look, we're going to play a game till 12. We'll do it again. Winner stays, and there'll be no more shots made at this basket. He blocked every shot. 43 years old. He was blocking everything. It was unbelievable.
Somebody used to play in those 80s games, who I asked who's the best player you ever played with or against, told me it was about a 50-year-old Wilt Chamberlain at those UCLA pickup games. He was that kind of physical presence.
My friend Wilt, Norman Chamberlain, was far and away the best player I've ever played against.
We cannot throw out what Wilt is Wilt. I mean, obviously he didn't win championships, but I'm with Shaq. You go with winners because Bill Russell won so much, but when you start saying which would you start a team with, it's hard to go against the Big Dipper. It's hard to go against him.
As far as basketball skills are concerned, there's never been anybody to accomplish what Wilt Chamberlain has accomplished, and he was an incredible human being, an incredible physical specimen, and a great athlete. And I don't think anybody will come along who will be able to match the records that Wilt has accomplished. He just never had the personnel like Bill Russell had to go along with him.
If Wilt had the good fortune of having as many great teammates as Bill Russell had, I think that his record of championships would have been phenomenal.
Keep in mind that in his NBA career, Bill Russell has 0 individual all-time records. Michael Jordan has 3 all-time NBA records. Wilt Chamberlain has 56 all-time NBA records. Now tell me who's the greatest player of all time.
With all deference to Bill Russell in the winning, the man averaged, I don't care what era, he averaged 50 and 25. Correct. He's got to be on Mount Rushmore.
He didn't win enough, but he was going against the Celtics every single year.
And you can't even argue by the numbers. Wilt Chamberlain, the most dominant player ever in this game.
But we do not acknowledge Wilt Chamberlain. We have forgot about him. And he's one of the most athletic players who's ever played the game. He led the league in assists. He led the league in field goal percentage, led the league in block shots. He led whatever you wanted him to do, he was going to do.
People seem to think that your friendship with him helped you a little bit competitively because he liked you so much.
That's a crock. Do you know what the NBA rebound record is?
It's 55 rebounds by Wilt Chamberlain.
You know who the other center was that night?
It was Bill Russell.
Now, how's that taken easy?
Yeah, he did that in November of 1960. So, his second year in the league. 55 rebounds. That to me is incredible because, against Bill Russell, they were the 2 greatest rebounders in the history of the game.
He called me up one day. Sports Illustrated had a cover and said, "Is Dennis Rodman the best rebounder ever?"
Oh, God.
And Wilt was so annoyed. And I cleaned it up saying annoyed. So he called me up and he asked me, did I believe this bleep? And so I said, well, I don't pay attention to that. And he says, I had more rebounds a quarter than he had on the whole game.
In the 60s, Wilt was just picked apart more than any athlete. Why doesn't he do this? Why does he only care about numbers? Did you think it was fair?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I never did any of that.
You never said one thing?
He got to 100 points against my team, the Knicks. That was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, but I read about it immediately the next day.
50 years ago, we scored 100 points. That's right, 100 points.
100 points in one game, which I believe was versus the Knicks, 1962.
That's right.
Is that right?
It's a long time.
Was there
Right, yeah, right.
Was there a point? 100 points in one game.
The game wasn't on TV, just some pictures remain. But you better believe that night lives on in the memories of those who saw it.
He scored 100 points in a game in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and Al, you were in that game. And the night that he got 100, were you cognizant of that? Did you talk about it at halftime, or did you treat it like a no-hitter?
When Dave Zinkoff, who you remember, was doing the game, he started calling every point after that. And he would say, and that's 82, and that's 83. Well, then we became cognizant that he had a chance. I believe that a great basketball player on a good night for him or a hot night for him can score 100 points. I believe that, sincerely. I believe the other records I have that they may have a hard time ever taking a look at.
They always said he was by far the strongest person who's ever played in the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember that he lifted me up with his one arm like nothing. Probably the greatest play I have ever seen in my life that Wilt Chamberlain was involved with Gus Johnson. Wilt was standing there. Gus goes up to dunk it. Wilt catches the ball, throws Gus to the floor, still holding the ball. They carry Gus off the court with a dislocated shoulder from bouncing off the floor. I don't see how anyone in the NBA will ever be as strong as he was.
One time in a game, Casey Jones tied him up. He was really upset. And so Wilt Chamberlain picked up the ball with Casey still attached, and he picked it up with his arms extended, brought it to his chest, and threw a two-handed chest pass with Casey still on the ball. That's how strong he was.
He came to the gym and he would do a tricep extension. The big guys, the strongest guys, would do, let's say, 120 pounds, let's say, tricep extension, pulling down, right? He would come and he would do 150, 170 pounds. That's how strong he was.
When he made the moves with Arnold Schwarzenegger, they were at the weight room. And Wilt says, "How do you do that?" And Arnold goes, "Well, this way you do it. You know, you push up." So he goes, Wilt lays down on the bench, gets up under it. Bing, 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 bing. And Schwarzenegger never came into the weight room with Wilt again.
Well, when you're 32 years old, you haven't quite checked your ego at the door yet. And I wasn't quite ready to check my ego at the door. So Dick McGuire, who's a teammate of mine, and he said, "Well, the job is yours." So he offered me the job. I said, "Well, Dick, when you think about it, we played an exhibition game against the Philadelphia Warriors in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I saw Wilt for the first time. I said, "Man, it's time to go." I tell you, it's time. I told him, I said, "You know what, man, you did me a great favor." He said, "What did I do?" I said, you took a hand-wringing and gut-wrenching decision and made it a no-brainer." It's time. When the game ended, I was Dick's assistant coach. Oh, yeah. And I remember there was a game against Brooklyn. I played with Brooklyn, and Wilt played with the team from Philly. And we had this game against them, and it was probably one of the best games you've ever seen, but everybody don't remember it because it wasn't on video. It was pre-video, so it was a great game, and I think that Wilt, and we had a guy by the name of Jackie Jackson, who was like 6'4" and actually touched the top of the backboard. I've heard people talk about guys touching the backboard. This guy can do it. And we ran a play, and Wilt used to shoot this fadeaway jump shot. He used to go up high and shoot off the glass. So we had a play that we would make Wilt shoot this jump shot, and Jackie would come over and block it. And we had the play set up perfect. Wilt went in and turned, shot a jump shot. Jackie came from the weak side and cornered the guy at the top of the backboard. And the crowd went crazy. People were running around the place and jumping off the fence and almost jumping off the ceilings and stuff. And it was just phenomenal. And we looked over at Wilt, and Wilt was staring at us, and Wilt called timeout. Just called timeout like that. And everybody was still running around screaming. And back then there wasn't high five. They were giving everybody low five and stuff. Everybody was clapping and carrying on. And then the next 15 plays were dunks by Wilt that I've never seen before in my life. He dunked every single way you can imagine.
And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, help me out by hitting that like button, subscribing if you're new for more NBA content just like this, and hit that notification button so you never miss an episode in the series. Thank you for watching. Peace.